Namaskar and welcome to this special episode on livelihood. In Goa, we discuss all issues. We rarely discuss issues of livelihood which connect to the economics of the people at large. And today we thought that we will discuss these concerns of livelihood in Goa, especially because after the second ban in mining in state, where a large section feels very concerned and affected by mining ban. Issues of livelihood have really become very crucial. So, we have today, I have three guests with me to discuss this issue. First, I have Mr. Charudatta Panigrahi, who is a mentor of FIDR, that is Forum for Integrated Development and Research. Then I have our Mr. Nitin Kukadekar. He is people know him very well, president of MAIT Delhi, and we have Sanjay Dhavdikar, who is a editor, a senior journalist and editor of Goan Varta. Let me tell you that this Forum for Integrated Development and Research is a national level non-profit making think tank, and in Goa also they are working on a household, all Goa household assessment they are doing of household incomes they are doing to understand the livelihood concerns of Goan people. And in Goa they have already done this kind of household income assessments.
When you talk about extraction industry, we talk about two or three kinds of economies, two or three areas or zones in India, where we on one hand have extraction industry where you have tribals, and where the economy has been under stress, and there are other parts like Goa where the economy is looking up, has been looking up traditionally, where the GDP growth has been very promising, where the per capita income is probably one of the highest in the country, and it's the most cash rich state in India. And that's where when we see that the state is making initiatives on agriculture and other such initiatives, you have the Vision 2025, which is already clearly laid out. So, you want to double the farmers' income, but at the same time what we see is after the mining closure, it has made a severe dent on the income of the people. Now, why I am saying this is because when we have gone to the households, our people have gone to the households and we have tried to get as much information as possible on the income. On one hand, we see the social security looking up and being effective and impacting the lives of the people. On the other hand, for the youth, for the next gen, say below 35, there hasn't been any clear cut idea about what they are going to do, what are their engagement plans after the mining closure.
You find a kind of uncertainty.
That is, there is an uncertainty as far as the engagement plan is concerned, or the employment or the self-employment. The enterprises are not looking up because of the loans that they have taken, and filling up for the EMIs has been a struggle for them, and they are more or less in a situation where you call that a debt trap. Otherwise, I would not term it so strongly, but it is almost like that, where to maintain a particular lifestyle or to maintain a particular repayment thing that I have to do for my assets and for my borrowings, I have to still borrow. So, to borrow to repay is not a very ideal situation, one. And second, after the mining closure, the household income has almost taken a beating to the extent of 30 to 40%. We have the data. We have
this
all the
is
data.
This is overall all 12 talukas, or only in the on the mining talukas?
This is specifically to the mining. Since you started with mining, I am just talking about the mining, 7 or 8 talukas where they are mining focused talukas. But in a state like Goa, let us understand that with 1.5 million population, 7 talukas out of 12 talukas having this effect being felt has a ripple effect, has a cascading effect for the entire state. And though other sectors like tourism and agriculture to some extent are there to back it up, but the kind of income that was generated because of mining has not been there since it has been closed. So that is making a deep impact in the lives of the people.
I see.
And last but not the least, I would like to also mention one of the highlights is that this could probably lead to a socio-economic imbalance or a social stress which could lead to other undesirable aspects like negativity,
people.
spreading of negativities, youth not getting a proper direction for the future in their careers, in their engagement plans, and due to lack of proper income, the urge to migrate out, which is not a very positive thing as far as
local population,
skill sets of Goa is concerned. So because on one hand we see that there are many skill programs in the offing or in the pipeline, on the other we see a huge issue in mobilizing students to the skill programs. So we need to have some kind of a parity, and that's
I am thankful to you for articulating this issue, what has been the problem. Now I will bring in Nitin Bab in this discussion on this, whatever highlights Mr. Charudat ji has given, how you respond to that.
So
let us come to the aspect of solutions later on.
But problem.
Yes.
Often we keep talking about the per capita income, but we need to also see that whether it is an inclusive income for everyone in the state. At times there are certain sectors like real estate, mining, and 2-3 sectors created huge wealth in the hands of few people.
So they dominate the average.
And they dominate the average. That is one factor. The assets under management with the banks are high. If you see the statistical ratio of people is very low.
Yes.
You have to touch some of the points, but we can't have bias about mining. Today you talk about problems about mining and say mining dependent, which was a boom only from 2000 probably 5 to 2012 or 2008 to 12.
Till the
in this 4 years, if you feel that such a dramatic thing happened, that means somewhere there is a greed part also.
Absolutely.
There is a huge greed part of select people which is also responsible. They didn't save well, they created also habits I've come across. We also need to understand how many people have wasted money on different things. So lot of things have happened, we need to understand. Some people could not understand the money which just flowed to them, they didn't know how to handle it. Because coming from a very lower middle class or low class, many of us don't understand how to deal with the situation. So we need social education in understanding and the need, and we need to look at this demography differently.
But you accept that there are these kind of situations which have arisen?
They are more highlighted because everyone feels now that you talk about mining dependent, you get something from the government. So the pressure is being built up to get. My point is very simple. In 2008 onwards, the issue of illegal mining was being raised and it was in the papers. Still people went on buying the trucks.
Correct.
That means you are making money, substantial money on the existing trucks. That's why you went ahead and bought new trucks. When an element of risk was in front of me, which was highlighted in the media and everyone was talking about it, you need not have waited for a ban from the Supreme Court in 2012. So 2008 onwards, even as a Chamber of Commerce president also, I had me and my Vice President Cesar Menezes, we had petitioned to the government in writing the concerns of illegal mining. So if that was the case, when we were highlighting, people were buying barges left and right. Today you were minting money out of it. All of a sudden when business stopped, why the risk should be shifted to government, that is public money should be paid for that. That is my major concern. Yes, there are genuine people who are affected, loss of employment, yes, those needs to be addressed. But today everyone is trying to squeeze. So finally government pays from our money, taxpayers' money.
Even banks' money is
banks' money. Today people are defaulting money left and right. No one is paying money to the bank. They are having a posh living. There are cases where people are buying Mercedes, people are buying best of the best cars and still defaulting. And why do we talk of Nirav Modi as a national media. There are enough Nirav Modis in the state of Goa also. So it is time to find out, deplug this wealth. The crooks which have destabilized this economy should be punished, and the genuine citizens in the mining belt,
Should
like
get
a
relief.
common worker who was actually, see, there is no scope for rural employment in the state of Goa except mining.
Yeah.
Mining was the major source of rural employment in the state,
Yes.
and it went up to 55 million, but even at 10-20 million it restarts. I think we should welcome more from the perspective of these people, the common men who are dependent on this,
mining.
and not the guys who exploited it.
Yeah.
People from outside came, lot of migration happened also during that time. They are also claiming as a mining dependent. People from out of different states came and started
So
working
government
in the
has to
mine.
be careful.
So government has to be careful. Lot of government officials,
Yeah.
they were truck owners. That's why when government opted for the scheme, Goa electronic registration, many people opted not to register.
So these benefits should not be across the board.
So government has to be very careful. The people, there are also some people who have made enough money in 2005 to 12, still they are defaulting the money. Government should not give them any subsidy or any leniency, rather book them. People are defaulting. This is one part. Second thing,
Nitin, I will come back to you. Let us bring Sanjay Babu into the debate. You have heard Mr. Charudatta ji saying that this is the situation. Incomes have gone down of some people below even half of their level of incomes. As a media, you always try to get these responses. How you respond to this?
Yeah, I was listening to Mr. Chinna Panigrahi. What he's saying is very much relevant. I'll come to Nitin's point later. But he was talking. You're talking about the people from lower strata who have actually lost 30-40% of their income in the last due to the mining ban. Mining ban is one thing. Are we discussing just mining ban?
No.
There
we
are
are discussing livelihood in a holistic way.
So that is, of course, mining ban has come prominently because that we are suffering now because of that ban.
Absolutely.
Income has gone down. There are other things also, and the average income going down. Some people have lost the entire income source. The business people, even in the service sector, jobs are lost because of the closure. So that is making a huge negative impact socially in the mining belt, which those talukas you were mentioning, 6-7 talukas.
Plus port talukas.
Plus port talukas also, the export stopped. So this activity has affected socially to a large extent, mainly because of the mining ban. Even the Nitin raised that point, which about the when we talk of the average income, that misleads actually. What is the scene in rural area is completely different. Of course, we don't have that kind of poverty which Orissa or Bihar or some other states.
Poverty. We have relative poverty.
We don't have absolute poverty. People are not starving here, though they are maybe unemployed but with lesser income. But nobody starves here because. Plus, to support to that, we have some good government schemes also. Right or wrong, that is another thing. Social security schemes. We have people at least get food to eat, money to cook at home. So, but continuously the economy is going down. That is a big worry. Mining, mining, I don't know whether mining will begin or not, but we need to have alternatives.
Now that you are saying we need to have alternatives, I will come to you. What are solutions you are thinking of on this?
While we are talking about mining and what we are going through for the mining issues, like what you just mentioned and Nitiji just mentioned, other things like the agriculture sector and the youth employment, the employability, skill building, youth development program, and the agriculture. And in agriculture, I am including everything. So, for example, dairy. It is very surprising that in Goa, I mean, I'm just stating the facts, so I have no value judgment to make. But in Goa, about 72 to 73,000 liters a day is the milk production. Now, the demand is probably 10 times of that.
150,000.
So, why can't we think of developing in a very focused manner the dairy sector, number one, because of the connectivity, because of the own in-house in the state consumption, and because also of the thriving tourism and hotel industry. That's number one. Number two is also to look
There
at
have been
the
attempts, but then very weak attempts.
yeah,
actually.
that's
I'll
Yeah.
talk on.
and
I'll
Yeah.
and another thing I also wanted to mention, we should also think about other sectors and empowering other sectors like the women SHGs. Women SHGs, because Goa comes with this tremendous power in soft skills. That is why the youth of Goa are internationally known for their good thing in the hospital industry. Now, if in hospitality industry we are doing so well, we could also do similarly productive work with our women. SHG products, having aggregate those products, having producer organizations, both for agriculture as well as SHG women products and things like that.
First and
Yes.
foremost, what
Yeah.
I was saying from 2005 constantly is create an alternate for mining in the rural areas
Areas.
by a eco-friendly. Goa's beauty is nature. Don't destroy it, develop it, allow utility of the nature in such a way that you create a rural economy out of
Economy.
it.
Sustainable
So,
economy.
Mr. Parikar, we must compliment him for one thing on that eco-tourism, though it was not a very clear policy, or maybe he didn't get much time, but he should have focused on this eco-tourism policy. You can't have a 2-3 line notification which is just for some purpose. We need to work out on an integrated way of creating a rural centric. People only don't like to come on beach. People want to get alienated from the metros
Yes.
and would like to come to Goa for peace and tranquility. They like the serenity of this place, and we must attract and capitalize on that. But everyone focused on beach. Everything is North Goa, North Goa, North Goa. People should look at beauty of Goa. Automatically there will be a substitution from mining to this. This I have been telling constantly from 2005. Thankfully, CM also talked about it. Will create an alternate, but there is a huge gap between when they say and what happens.
Yes.
Second most important thing is you talked about, everyone talks about Goa's tourism industry. Goa's tourism industry is not having the desired multiplier effect. It is probably 1:1. Ideally, tourism creates 1:5 multiplier. If you see in developed place, how does it happen? You create a value chain.
Yes. Which is
So
not there.
value chain. Now you talked about dairy, tourism. You talk about the consumption of food and other dairy products and everything that happens from a soap to candle to everything, towel, everything happens in tourist state like Goa. It's huge, from chocolates to everything, right? Hotels try to consume everything, but we import or we get from outside the state, from dairy. So if you integrate this consumption plan of the state, including the fish comes from out. So if you integrate this consumption plan of the state with a value chain like from a poultry,
Yes.
why poultry should come from out? Why
Outside.
mutton should come from out? So if you try and create a value chain, understand number of hotels, what is their consumption, someone has to sit across and conduct the study. No one. So
create income
agriculture
generation
and
for people.
government decides. So okay, this is the requirement of all agro products. Then agriculture department comes and says what is actually happening and what should happen. This is the gap. There has to be action plan on how to bridge the gap by creating land reforms. If the land is blocked, come out with a cooperative model. In let's say land is disputed, bring them as a partners and let government play the role. Lot of land will come under agriculture. Today we are talking about export, but within the state there is a huge potential. So
Integrated approach is
horticulture,
needed.
poultry can create an internal demand.
Yes.
So that demand we are not matching. So value chain of tourism is very high. If that happens, obviously agriculture will blow. They will have a local market. They will be effective.
Income generation at the
Today
local level.
I can't supply milk to Bombay or Belgaum because logistic cost is high. I can't sustain. So government has to step in if the need be subsidized. Government is the best aggregator in the world. The demand aggregation what government can do, no one else can do. So if government says okay, I will provide a base for like Goa Dairy is nothing but a demand aggregator of the government.
Absolutely.
Right? Marketing Federation is nothing but a demand aggregator of the government. So like this government creates channels and ties up with these 5-star hotels and all and creates a value chain will be established which will create options for the people and they will be rewarded. And I think we need an integrated approach. So agriculture ministry and tourism ministry and other ministries they have to work in tandem.
Yes.
Industry, for example, we talk about industry, a lot of industry have moved out. Unemployment has shrunk.
Correct.
Why do we only talk of mining dependence? Lot of employment has gone off from industries. Address Goa's employment needs. Today, 210,000 people are in the age group of 10 to 20. In next 10 years, they will come for the job market or opportunity market. We have 110,000 people in 50 to 60 who will go out of the job market, or they normally it is assumed that at 60 you will retire, assume. But think of this problem and start identifying. Migration is not the solution. We are also getting inward migration because we are not planned. Skill development you talked about. Skill development is everything in Goa is happening in isolation. Goa is the smallest state and the best state. But if you integrate and work, skills, agriculture, industry, tourism, Goa can just increase our GDP by 2 to 3% with inclusive growth.
I'll bring
That will create
Sanjay
jobs
into
and-
it.
Jobs and
this
jobs,
also
benefit for the government.
Yeah.
Benefit for the government. Government will get better
Correct.
tax revenue, and people will be happy. You need not give doles.
Here now what is important is dignity of work and labor. If all this kind of avenues we talk about beyond the traditional government jobs, then whether are we prepared for this?
Yeah, we are not prepared, unfortunately, now, because we have, see, we say we have so many artists, we say we have so many skilled people,
Traditional occupations.
small works. Now we don't get any carpenter, we don't get anything. Then all because more migration from other states is happening here, mainly because of these jobs. These works are not taken by our local people.
Why?
See, earlier we used to
People
get
don't
for
have this
any
dignity
masonry
of
work, we
labor.
used to get people from Pername. Do you get people from Pername? No, you have to look out for some Karnataka or some these construction workers. So this is there is mainly
So where
I
is
feel
the
because
initiative lost?
Initiative is not lost just today. It has been happening for years. It has been happening. It is the problem was never
Creativity
addressed.
is not rewarded.
Rewarded.
It's not rewarded.
So
And
mason
we
means it's not a low-end job.
Yeah.
It is a creative job.
We consider it as a low-end job. The guy also is ashamed of saying I'm mason. He is
For
paid
example-
low.
For example,
and
an artist you touch, very important. Dr. Subodh Kerkar is the only person who has created a model for the artist in the state of Goa.
Yes.
But how many people adore him?
why not follow that and why not
Correct.
bring more
Correct.
artists under
He
that
should be
roof?
the role model for the state.
And even
in
when
fact,
you
one of the
talked of
findings what we also found very interesting in the same lines is that the dignity of labor should come from a kind of a social sensitization that is required to be done. Now we don't sensitize people who are there, the youths particularly, in various hubs that we can create because it's a very accessible state. And the distance is also very low, I mean very less.
Yeah, right.
So you can cover a lot of people very fast. So in a year or in 2-3 years, you can cover each one of them probably 2 or 3 times. So how do we mobilize them or sensitize them about what are the facilities available? How do you access these services? And what happens if you access these services? Now constant interaction with the youth is required to make them believe that there is dignity in labor. Otherwise, what is
how
happening
do you
is
mobilize these people? I believe if you take these success stories like Subodh Kerkar, Nitin mentioned, there are other people in different fields. Now filmmakers are coming up. So I think youth is impressed by success stories.
But
they put
So
them
how
as
much
role
role
models.
your media or media plays in that,
Of
and
course.
are we doing it?
Of course, we are actually not doing enough by putting. Personally, I would say yes, my paper is doing because we really discussed this right in 2015.
Media has a very big role in
it
projecting
media has
success
role.
stories.
And, we don't believe as a media overall. We don't believe much in positive or success stories. We need to bring more such
Negativity.
get rid of this negativity and bring in
media.
the
We can only
the
put the
overall society
yeah.
also.
You
Nitin,
see,
just 1 minute. Even media, when we start, I'll just narrate my experience in 1 minute. When we started in 2015, when we started this paper, we started highlighting positive stories and good stories and some role models on front page, and then in the bargain, negative and crime stories goes inside. That's a good thing, but then we get response from people.
Where you are explaining to people that they are grumbling that why your stories
you are
are
not
going
taking
inside.
that theft story or some crime
Stereotype
story
for
on
people
front page.
also.
People start asking. So it is like you get media as per the society's demand. That's unfortunate.
when we
actually.
ask the youth about what are their plans, career plans, I'm just giving you one pointer. Career plans, about 34% said that they know about their career plans. The rest they don't know about
They
the
don't
career
know,
plans.
yeah.
What it means is,
your
it's
ratio is good.
also, it's
No, it's
also,
quite good. 34% if they
34%
say
is
they
good.
know. Yeah.
I am,
no, I'll just complain. So what happens is, it's actually a national trend also, where there are a lot of programs happening, lot of people, non-profits, NGOs, other such organizations, volunteers are there in the field, but they should go and touch the people where it is required. Because if we, in the formative years, if we don't give them, after graduation, what do I do? Before graduation, what do I do? What is this skill building? Do I know what skills are there? Is it required for me or not? Not everybody will become a plumber or an electrician. It's not required also. So what are the
Nitin,
available
we are coming
vocations?
to the end of the discussion. One word from you.
one words I'll tell you.
Yeah.
We are a disintegrated system across the country. 5 people have good intentions and work in 5 different ways, but not on a common agenda. This is exactly the distortion we are having. Now, I'll just conclude on a commerce education. I am involved in the management of Vidya Vikas Mandal and Commerce College. I can see immense opportunities in commerce, but none of them being aware of what's happening. On a concluding note, I must tell you, like commerce and all this education should be in line with what existed in the trade in the country, right?
Absolutely.
If the India has become part of the global trade with signing so many FTAs and WTO, now we should, as commerce student, know about global trade.
Today GST,
And-
people are suffering.
So we should know global trade, but we are still discussing the local trade.
Yes.
And expected to be a person who will be part of the global trade. So there is, universities also have to come in sensitizing. I am also a national board member of Electronic Sector Skill Council of India. Government of India has really taken now pains to push people for skill development, but again the integration is not happening in the country with the state and center. So we need to, I think, come together as a national agenda. That's where China, Thailand and other countries, when we say they are success stories, the only formula that worked is integration. And I think we lack that.
Precisely, Prakash. Even I just would like to add a line, like we need integrated efforts. Like, you know, for that vision document 2025, we had a good committee of experts, people from industry, government, social, media, education, all some good people coming together. And if we discuss and have a comprehensive plan about these alternatives, different options, then we can have some hopes.
And also not to poo-poo mining and not to let it down.
Absolutely.
Right.
And mining also has to
Has a role. At the same time, it is not everything.
it has limited period,
Yes.
but in the limited period it will also give income to
It
the
can be
state.
phase wise. It
Yes,
can be
absolutely,
just overnight.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So mining has to be activated as soon as possible.
So livelihood is a big, wider issue. It cannot be just discussed in just 30 minutes. At the same time, a beginning has to be made, and we have made that beginning. Forum for Integrated Development and Research has done this household needs assessment survey. They are doing it. Some highlights have come. We expect them to do it on a more larger scale, try and unearth more issues, concerns and responses which will be needed not only by the government, but social organizations, NGOs and industry bodies and all that. So we come to this conclusion only to say that this livelihood issue needs to be debated more and responded with integrated approach from government and others. Thank you very much. I thank all my panelists, Charudatta ji, Nitin Bab and Sanjay Bab. Thank you for coming for
Thank
this.
you,
Thank you.
Prakash,
Thank you,
Bab,
Prakash.
for giving us this
Thank
opportunity.
you, Prakash.